All right, we are live. Well, hello everyone. This is Warrior Woman 91, and welcome to the greatest live stream there ever was. And I just had coffee, so I should be very excited and happy and bouncing off the walls and causing fireworks and all that good stuff. So today we have some very special guests from Twitter. You all know Aaron Bandler from the Daily Wire, and at Become a Texan from, of all places, the great nation of Texas. So say hello to everyone.
It may as well be its own country.
It is its own country. So say hello to our all the fans that will be watching shortly. Proud Texan.
Hello, all fans who will be watching shortly.
Now, later on, we are going to have a special guest appearance from none other than Ben Shapiro, Thug Life, and I'm very, very excited to have him come on. That'll be around 12:30 Pacific Standard Time, which is actually it's Pacific something other time because we're on daylight savings. So that is the actual guy who makes the Thug Life videos. He's 23 and he lives on the East Coast, and that's all I know about him. So stay tuned. In a half hour, you will see Ben Shapiro, Thug Life. So audience note, please make sure all death threats, memes, and marriage proposals are directed to the comment section because I don't read them and I don't want to see them. So there you have it. And please be sure to send any questions you may have that you want the guests to answer to @WarriorWoman91, and we will attempt to answer all of your pressing questions with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of free advice, as Michael Savage used to say back when I used to listen to him. So without further ado, we have a lot of topics to discuss today, especially with the Friday Ted Cruz bombshell. So let us start with Proud Texan. So first off, I just want to give you a chance to introduce yourself. I know you kind of want to maintain some anonymity, but if you could just tell the audience why you are a conservative and where you have kind of stood during this presidential election.
Oh, golly. I don't even know where to begin about the why. I mean, as far as where I was in this election, the real issue is, I mean, for a while it was Pete Hillary, and then it kind of morphed in. It was Pete Hillary for a while, and I was fine with the Donald, but I mean, Cruz was my guy. At the start, and that's just how it was for me. And I guess it became a morphing over time. Whenever Trump went after Cruz for the first time, that's when I was with Trump, because it proved anything that he claimed about anti-establishment, what he would care about, proved exactly where he was.
So you supported Cruz in the primaries, obviously, and how far back do you go with Cruz? Obviously, you live in Texas, so you voted for him for Senate. Were you like, I mean, obviously, anybody following you on Twitter could understand that you were pretty ticked off, peeved, distraught over his decision on Friday to endorse Donald Trump. Is this like a real major deal breaker for you? Are you gonna, withdraw complete support for him as a Senate candidate over this, or how is this going down for you?
I can be upset, but I don't have to be stupid. I mean, certainly I don't withdraw support, but I mean it's kind of a frustrating thing because he's doing something that unless all the cards are right, he's right. And that's kind of unfortunate to see. I think most people are either not going to care or they're going to say disappointing, but he's still who we know he is. It's just going to be very difficult for those who become invested.
Yeah, I have to tell you guys, I was so upset this morning over Ted Cruz, and it's partly because I'm exhausted. But when I get upset about stuff, I dream about it. I dreamed about Ted Cruz last night, and I was telling him, why did you do this to me, Ted? It was sad. Anyway, I get very emotionally involved in this stuff. So I'm going to shift this over to Aaron. Since Ted Cruz endorsed Trump on Friday, what is your take on how this will affect Cruz and conservatives as a whole in the future?
First, can you turn the volume down on my laptop? Like, I hear the echo. It's kind of hard to hear when
Yeah.
you're protesting the
Yep. Is that better? Are
Yeah.
we good?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so your question has been affecting. Well, I think there's certainly like a never Trump contingency that probably feels slighted by what Ted did, and I think it's a stupid thing politically for him to do because I just think that after what he did at the RNC convention speech, it's really a bad look for him to kind of backtrack on that. It kind of makes him look a little bit unprincipled. But that said, I think that if you really read what he said, it was very in line with the reluctant Trump position, kind of like what Mark Levin and David Limbaugh have kind of taken, and probably what you have too, Kelly, to an extent. So I think it will definitely hurt him amongst some that were Trump conservatives, and it definitely gives ammo to someone like Ben Sass, who's probably going to run 2020. But you definitely have to think that he's still a hero among like conservatives and should do well in 2020. Assuming that Hillary, of course, is the president at that point.
Yeah. Is this really going to help Trump at all? I mean, with this endorsement, because I just don't see conservatives. I'm just using Ben Shapiro for an example. He's not going to, follow Cruz's lead and go and support Trump. Is this really going to be a help to Trump at all to have this endorsement?
Not really. It probably won't move the needle much. It's I think that a lot of conservatives who don't support him, it's like, as you said, it's like they're not gonna suddenly change their position just because Cruz did. It's just So there's like no upside for Cruz to do it, even for Trump to get his endorsement either. All it does is kind of hurt Cruz politically.
Yeah, I don't see any never Trump. I don't think people were never Trump because they were pro Cruz. Cruz doesn't really have that cult following necessarily. He was kind of the representative of the conservative movement, but not the conservatives candidate, or not in the same level that Donald Trump was or is to the alt-right or to basically never Hillary. People will follow him no matter what, but they're not going to follow Cruz because he just doesn't have that cult of personality thing going on.
Which is a hilarious side effect, actually, of this, which is that we're going to get to watch the incredible meltdown of the Trump faithful who are suddenly aghast and realizing that it actually isn't a personality issue. That was the charge for a lot of the time, which, you're a Cruz bot, you're this, you're that, and it has absolutely nothing and utterly to do with the man itself. It's just the greatest magic principle.
But even they don't even like. They just said that Cruz endorsement of Trump was an example of how Cruz doesn't have convictions or whatever, which is, I think, a stupid thing to say, but the kind of thing that Cruz kind of opened himself to by endorsing Trump.
Right.
So it's not like Cruz is winning any fans among Trump's hardcore supporters. So yeah, again, there's no upside to doing it. I kind of wish he didn't, but he did. Will have to answer for it from now and for the in the near future.
Yeah, I want to ask Proud Texan, is this going to be an issue for Ted Cruz running in the Senate again in 2 years? Do you think that there's going to be somebody that, well, I honestly don't think Rick Perry is really much of a threat to Ted Cruz at this point, but do you think that somebody could come and oust Cruz for his seat now that he's kind of shaken his support a little bit with the people of Texas?
No. The thing that goes on down here is any person with a similar political position as Cruz isn't going to challenge him, and the only people that are going to challenge him will be like the McCalls or the straight up establishmentarians, and they don't stand a chance. Rick Perry, I'm just going to go ahead and take the Dancing with the Stars thing as the surest sign that he's done running for elected office.
Yeah.
Now, because Rick Perry is actually an interesting study in politics, because the man is pretty much beloved down here. Everybody likes Abbott better as far as just policy positions. But Perry is you know, Perry's kind of this like Texan figure, I guess you could say. But the incredible failure of him to do anything right on any type of national stage is kind of hilarious. He's like so good at it, but you know, he has the oops moment, and then you know, the clock is only right once a day, and I mean, like I said, I'm taking Dancing with the Stars thing as the evidence he's out.
Oh my gosh. I would highly recommend anybody who wants to watch a failing political career die, go watch Dancing with the Stars right now. I'm surprised he didn't get off in the first episode. And they don't kick people off in the first episode, but I was almost sure they were going to make an exception this season because of how incredibly terrible he is. But you know, they keep him on because he's funny to watch. Oh my gosh, how embarrassing. So, yeah. So the reason why I wanted to have Proud Texan on specifically is because he's somewhat of an authority on media and how it has an effect on culture. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about why Trump's celebrity status has helped him rise to the level of Republican nominee in this election cycle.
Wait, hold on. Can you turn down the volume of the computer a little bit more? I can still hear the echo.
Did you get that, Proud Texan?
Yes, I did.
Okay, go ahead.
We've got to, I'll put it this way. You've got to go back a number of years kind of for the start of this. And it's a combination of a TV-ized society, I would say, where you've got people that have watched television, that have grown up in the TV era. They've watched movies, and between the messaging of that, we've gotten into a media culture where, you know, you can make somebody, you know, I mean, Kim Kardashian is famous for being a loser. That's really what it comes down to. But she's famous. And so we have people who can be famous for anything. You can be famous because you ate a potato chip on a YouTube video. You can be famous because you did you know, like the guy up in Portland who rides the unicycle with the flame-throwing bagpipes dressed as Darth Vader. You know, you can be famous for a number of reasons, and with that, you get a name ID issue. Now, as far as Trump, he's got a lot of name ID. It's very fascinating when you look at the people who support him, the strongest demographic, because Trump really hasn't done anything recently. He's famous for building some nice buildings 20 to 30 years ago, and then he was a TV celebrity of early to mid-2000s primarily. And so because of that, you really don't see the name ID with the millennials. I mean, people know who he is, but between the denigration overall, it's tough to summarize because there's so many factors that go in, running from how the media, the mainstream media, has treated various types of conservative figures over the years. You know, you've got the running conversation of, well, if you just say you're a racist bigot, this for so long, and none of it's true, then you lose credibility on the real thing. You've got all kinds of issues on that informs the conversation, and so you've got Trump, the reaction. But generally speaking, it's synonymous, I'd say, with everything becoming a shadow of the real thing, or empty vessels. We've taken a lot of pride culturally of empty vessels, and the media has glorified such people, such issues, where, you know, it's a great thing on the outside, but really lacking in substance. It looks great, it's polished, it's clean, but it misses any meaning. And so we've glorified this kind of, you know, everything's great on the surface. I mean, I just saw a news story the other day that there are actually people who are paid to cuddle. You have paid cuddlers. Yeah. This is going on up in the Northeast, in like New York and in like Portland and stuff, where people run businesses where there are people who are so lonely that you're going to pay this person to like be around you for an hour or to hug you or something. It's really weird. But that's the societal degradation of that people are so deprived for some type of meaningful connection with another human. That's not a sign of a healthy culture.
I don't know if you saw the guy on Facebook, just to interrupt you real quick, that is now walking humans. They pay him to go on walks with him. And he's a very, let's just say he's not the kind of guy that I would want walking with me somewhere. And so that's why I raised an eyebrow. Yeah, but just
raise the eyebrow like Tim Kaine, right? The Tim Kaine eyebrow raiser.
Yes, I did the Tim Kaine eyebrow on that one. But that was just to feed in another example of what you're talking about there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's difficult to distill into one thing. There's a lot of different angles, and this runs from issues of name ID to how politics is covered to how society views politics. I mean, we've got a generation of people coming up that, I mean, they've lived off of People magazine. They're really not interested in any type of serious discussion about anything. They want the magic man to make it better.
The strong man.
And so, yeah, the strong man. It's. I think this is what happened with some of the support for Obama. Is you had a number of people, and they were looking for the magic bullet candidate, something that can be magically done that's going to fix your problems. This is how you get my favorite moment of the 2008 election, which was when the lady was actually claiming that Obama would put gas in her car.
Mm-hmm.
But did she also say like she can pay off like all my bills? I don't have to worry about my mortgage anymore and all that stuff.
Yeah, everything's going to be great. It'll be sunshine and daisies and happiness, and people are going to dance in the streets.
Happy
never
days
mind.
are here again.
Yeah, happy days are here again, and that's you had that happen on the right this time, and it's this kind of perfect storm, really, of media, of cultural degradation. I mean, there's no way that either of these two people could become major party nominees 20 years ago.
I'd like to add in too, just real quick, that I think one thing to really understand Trump's appeal is that I think that being a kind of celebrity, as what Proud Texan was talking about, I think a big part of that with him is the fact that he's so good at manipulating the media. And so when you had Trump at the very beginning, just kind of going after the members of the media and certain members of the establishment, I think a lot of people were like, oh my God, finally we have somebody who's handling this the right way. And I think, unfortunately, that kind of overshadowed a lot of his numerous flaws that primary, because I think a lot of his supporters just care about somebody who can stick it to the media. And while that's important to an extent, it's like you have to be, there's a lot more to being a presidential candidate than that. I think a lot of Republicans and conservatives can certainly learn from how Trump has handled the media to an extent. But I think you have to maybe take what Trump does and kind of combine it with what Ben Shapiro talks about in his books. Kind of combine the two, and then you have then you have like the perfect kind of blueprint and formula to really kind of take on the media and bring them down, basically as a presidential candidate, I think.
Yeah, I just completely went blank on the point I was going to make to follow that up. But it's kind of, just to kind of bounce back with what Proud Texan was saying, it doesn't seem like this kind of formula would have worked, 20, 30 years ago, as far as the whole celebrity mentality. People would have looked at Trump, and people even at the beginning of the primaries looked at Trump and they said, oh, this guy isn't serious. This guy isn't, he's just putting on a show, but it actually seems, and I don't know if maybe I'm reading too much or giving Trump too much credit, but it's almost like he saw what Obama did with the celebrity status angle, and he said, I could do that because I already have that.
Yeah, I agree. Why don't we hear what Ben Shapiro Thug Life thinks about this?
I would like to hear what Ben Shapiro Thug Life thinks about this. You want to make a comment? Is he here? He's not supposed to come on until 12:30.
Okay, well, I saw that he's here, so I guess if he's...
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he's not on until for another 10 minutes, so he will get to comment on all of this good stuff.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think it's actually a good point. I think Trump is kind of following the Obama model in the celebrity status. I think Cruz followed the Obama model just in terms of like the data operation he was running, but I think Trump did it in terms of being a celebrity, and that one, which should tell you where we are in our culture right now.
Yeah, the celebrity means more to people than actual substance of the policies. And this is the point that I was going to make. Even I, when seeing Trump just take down Jeb, I mean, it just made me feel so wonderful, and the hearts and flowers. And I'm like, oh my gosh, finally somebody just gave the Bushes a bloody nose.
Yeah, me too. And I think it's Ben likes to say that that Donald Trump is not the nominee without Jeb Bush, and it's so true, because Jeb Bush basically is the face of the establishment. He was their guy from the beginning. And he went out there, and you remember, like, right before he ran, he said, we have to lose the primary to win the general, which makes no sense at all. You can't lose the primary to win the general at all. It's stupid. We also take into account the whole act of love thing that he said, and all that, and it really, I think, personified the establishment, how out of touch they are with the general voters. And I will say that while I'm not a Jeb fan, he, outside of immigration and some other views like global warming, offshore drilling, and some education views, he actually had a pretty conservative record as governor of Florida, and certainly is more conservative than Trump, actually. But because in the eyes of many voters, Jeb is the establishment, and Trump was kind of this anti-establishment outsider, just beating him up every debate, I think that really helped Trump's image among voters in the GOP populace, and there's a big reason why he won. And of course, Jeb is such. I think the best way to describe Jeb also is like he's a classic beta male. Like he'll just kind of like he's not very good at handling challenges from an alpha male like Trump, and really back down kind of a little too easily. Make him look weak and make Trump look strong. Again, that's what people in the GOP populace seem to like. It's just somebody who looks strong. And that's what Trump was able to do masterfully.
Yeah,
it's also. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say you could also argue that Trump was really running against the volume of George W. worship that occurred from like 2007 to 2010, because that was at the time that was Rush Limbaugh, that was Sean Hannity, which is no matter what W did, then we have to, we've got to worship the W. W's the greatest, W's this. And there's one thing to defend from the crazy leftist code pink wackos. It's completely different to act like Medellin versus Texas never happened, or that some of those other policy initiatives that W took on in the second term. But while, the entire country was basically going to Obama as a reaction to W, then you've got Hannity, Limbaugh, etc., all going W. And that kind of set up, I think, to an extent, a spiral that brought us here, where when Jeb shows up, then Jeb is this like continued legacy of the W, and everyone, all the crazy Hannity people love W, and so they're going to love Jeb, and etc.
Well, I think, do you remember how during the Bush years, like Hannity was always like, well, should we give Bush a chance? That was always his excuse for it. And that's actually, I think that's very true what you brought up there, because both Rush and Hannity are both Trump apologists too. So they are kind of even though they're always kind of thought of as like voices of the conservative movement, they're kind of weather vanes, in terms of like, where the winds are blowing in terms for certain candidates. I think, they're kind of their apologism for Trump is really reflective of that, and it's really a shame, because if you look at like more principled conservatives like Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro, I think those two are way more representative of the conservative movement than I think Rush and Hannity are. And I don't take any. I used to love and admire Rush and Hannity, and it's just kind of sad to see them reach a point where I can't really admire them as much anymore, especially not Hannity. Now he's just like a joke. Rush is a little bit more frustrating because he's on analysis for a lot of things, but the fact that he keeps apologizing for Trump without being a full-throat Trump supporter, it's really aggravating, and it's really sad, because I used to listen to Rush every morning, and I just kind of stopped doing that recently. So I guess that's where we are right now. We have to find a way to make sure the true conservative voices like Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro are the ones that people think of when they think of conservatives, not Rush and Hannity.
For sure. The other thing I wanted to just bring it back to why Trump was so successful in those primary debates is it's kind of Ben Shapiro's argument about having it's more important to have a convincing villain than a hero to get behind. So you had the Bushes and you know embodied in Jeb Bush and even John Kasich that were there, and it didn't really matter who smacked them. It was just the matter of as long as they were smacked, we were happy. I mean, it could have been anybody. People probably would have been happy if Chris Christie had gone after those guys, even though he may be an example of the establishment. But he's the kind of guy,
He is
you
the
know,
example of the establishment.
Yeah, he was the kind of guy that would have gone and made a loud attack against other members on that stage. Although he probably would have attacked Cruz more if he had. Oh boy, Chris Christie. Ugh, why we had so many awful people on that stage, and so we picked one of the worst ones we could have possibly picked. Why does this happen? So, is Thug Life here, or are we gonna move on to a different topic? Okay, I don't think he's here yet. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the debate tomorrow night while we're waiting for Thug Life to come on. So just he says. Yeah, is your mic on, Thug Life? Yes. Okay, can you hear us? Okay. So he's talking to me right now. So why don't we are you ready to talk Thug Life, or do you want us to talk about the debate? Is he here?
Says he's talking. I can't hear him.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
For whatever reason, it says his mic is on, so I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, his mic is on. That's weird. He's not muted on my end. What is going on? Chat.
See, this is what happens when Hillary and Trump debate. I mean, just mics quit working.
Yeah.
You know, everything bad happens.
It's another side effect of the 2016. We need that sweet meteor of death right now.
Hello? Testing?
There we go.
Hey,
I hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
There's Thug Life. Okay.
How you guys doing?
I'm very excited to have you on. I am fantastic and exhausted. So
I think somebody tweeted out that they want to hear us like the Thug Life song when I come on.
yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Thinker.
Which stuff? Like there was the auto tune that someone made, but I don't know if I could play. If I play audio on my computer, you're not gonna hear it.
Yeah, it might.
Although I can hear the audio from Kelly's computer, so Kelly can't hear it going down again. It's just...
I'm having a hard time hearing, so I apologize. I need to bring headphones next time, obviously.
Yes, you do.
Yes, very much so. Okay, so we have our very special guest today, Ben Shapiro, Thug Life, and obviously you would like to remain anonymous at some level, but I'd just like you to briefly explain to us why you started making the Thug Life videos for Ben, because everybody seems to love them so much.
Well, I felt that there was a need in there, you know, because I wanted them. So that's a way of finding out that people want it, is if you want it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking around for Ben Shapiro Thug Life videos. I could barely find any. So I'm like, you know what? How hard could it be already? And it's not that hard, even though I'm not that good at it. But it worked.
Obviously, you're good enough. You made the Morning Answer. You've made Ben's podcast.
Yeah.
You got all these views, and you got on my show, which is like really fancy, even though we have terrible audio.
Ben, right?
Can't go higher than this show. That's for sure.
Pretty much.
How did you come up with the idea for Ben Shapiro Thug Life? Right? I mean, how did you even come up with it?
Well, it was before I made my channel. If you would search YouTube for Ben Shapiro Thug Life, there was 1 or 2 videos already. So I basically just, you know, I like those videos, and I basically took the idea from them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, I think I watched your live stream. I think it was like the 4th live stream you did, and I was watching it. And you said something like you're 23 and you're a college student, and you don't want to get fired from your job, so you don't want us to say your names.
I don't know if that's the reason why I don't want to say my name. It's just, you know, I don't know. I'm just not ready. I don't know why.
No. I totally get the idea of anonymity, but everybody loves the videos. Ben loves the videos. Obviously, he doesn't follow very many people, and you're one of the chosen few. So
Yeah,
um,
that was something.
that was
I
the
mean,
best day of
I
your
feel
life.
like I'm talking with him all the time, even though we never had a conversation.
Mhm.
Because, like, you know, he'll retweet something I tweet, so that means like he's reading what I'm writing, and then I'm reading what he's
Mhm.
writing. You know, it's a good it's a public Twitter conversation.
Aaron, we need to bring this guy to LA. Seriously.
Yeah, definitely come by the Daily Wire studio sometime. Thug Life. It'll be a lot of fun. Everyone there is so nice and cool. I'm
I
sure
would
they
love to.
would all love to meet you. I definitely love to meet you for sure.
If I ever come to the West Coast, I'll definitely let you guys know.
For sure, yeah.
I mean, I don't have any.
Definitely let me
I
know
don't
if
have
you're
any plans to.
definitely let me know if you come to the West Coast, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah. If you buy my plane ticket, it'll make it happen faster.
Aaron, there you go. We'll get Ben to spring for it. He's part of the 1%, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a.
Yeah.
He says it.
So
brags about it.
So what is your opinion about what's been going on with Ted Cruz and all that kind of thing?
I don't know. I wasn't following Ted Cruz ever since, like, you know, he dropped out. Like, you know, I was like, okay, that's it. You know, maybe 4 years I'll come back in.
Mhm.
But you know, I don't really know what his thinking was. You know, he doesn't really have a show every day to to follow his thinking. You know, Ben, I know what he's thinking on every single topic because he listens to the show every day. But Ted Cruz, you know, how often do you hear his opinion? So it's hard to know where he's coming from, especially when he's, you know, thinking this way and that way. He's changing his mind without you know, letting people be a part of his life. So it's a little annoying that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's kind of, I really wish that he had just like kept his mouth shut altogether. Don't show up to the convention. Don't put any, you know, spotlight on you. Just go
I
away.
agree. Just kind of stay quiet about it.
Yeah, once he was out, once you drop out of the race, most people already erase you from their minds. They're like, okay, that's it. I'm not gonna hear from this person for another 2 years. And like when you keep coming back, it's like, okay, now you just want attention. Now you just want, you know, to us to still look at you even though you're not relevant.
I'll say I think Cruz's mindset behind it was I think he kind of felt like he's going to face a tough primary challenge from McCall or Rick Perry and so forth. And I know Proud Texan was saying that there's no chance that either two could have actually been Cruz in the primary. So I tend to, and I would like to think that is the case. But perhaps Cruz felt like he couldn't really fend them off without you know, endorsing Trump in the way he did. And because I think there were some polls that showed him actually close with like Julian Castro in the general election in Texas. Another one is Rick Perry beating him. I mean, it's 2016, and he's up for election in a couple of years, so I doubt those would have lasted. But I guess so. And also, I had read that Cruz had gotten a lot of. He received a lot of, I guess, lack of a better word, received help from a bunch of conservative donors and supporters that want him to endorse Trump. You know, so I guess he's kind of a no-win situation. And now, and so maybe that's probably why he did it. And I guess he felt like because Trump was more subdued and more open to the whole internet freedom thing and all that, he felt like he's in a position where he could endorse Trump. So that's not an excuse. That's probably just why he did it, I think. And also, with the whole, as far as wife and father are concerned, I'm sure that Cruz talks to him about it before he made his endorsement. Although I wish he kind of got a concession apology out of Trump or something about it. So again, that's why I think he did it. I still think it's a dumb move politically. We'll have to see how it affects him, you know, come 2020. I'm still not going to drop my support for Cruz because of it, but there's some people who might, you know, and we won't know how bad he's going to support until 2020.
Okay, so just to kind of throw this back to Proud Texan, do you think that oh gosh, it just slipped my mind what I was saying. Do you think that that there are other conservatives that are going to end up rising up in 2020 that will just pretty much overshadow Cruz? Because it almost seems like Cruz did this to himself in some respect. So if I know I'm such a big Cruz supporter, I'm probably not going to withdraw support unless Ben Shapiro literally runs. I mean, if he runs in, if Cruz runs in 2020 and Ben Shapiro actually runs in 2020, I will shift to Ben. But other than that, I just don't see anybody else being still as principled or as conservative as Cruz at this time. But do you think that he kind of caused this whole controversy in some light because of, you know, various bad decisions he's made?
Yeah, it's self-inflicted.
Yeah.
I mean, I think part of it comes down to, well, as far as 4 years from now, you got to see what Ben Sasse is going to do, because it's pretty clear he has some type of design on higher office in his mind. The question will be, will he have a record to throw on the table for it? Because his, you know, he's been there and he's certainly very eloquent. And he's been very good with media, interview, speaking, etc. But his voting record is a little, And so, I mean, it's not exactly bad. It's just he really hasn't thrown his name into anything incredibly heavy, where he's got to really stake out a hardcore position on something. As far as Cruz, yeah, it's self-inflicted, and part of the deal comes down to with if he was always open to backing Trump, then he probably shouldn't have gone into the convention and thrown a Molotov cocktail onto the convention floor, because that's what he did. And his, and then especially if he's still open to it, then his defense of it probably shouldn't have been, well, I'm not in the habit of endorsing people who attack my family. Because then that's a level of resistance higher than just saying, oh, I don't think he's sufficiently conservative, or, oh, I don't like his policies, or, oh, I think he's a lunatic. It's saying it's personal to me. I have a family reason for this. And if he wanted to tell people to vote Trump, I think he could have even done that in a way that didn't make it look like he was kind of ignoring the prior familial, personal issues.
It almost seems to me like he was expecting Trump to lose, and I think even Ben said that at the time, that he's thinking that Trump is going to lose, and he wants to be seen as the guy. Well, you guys should have voted for me because I was the one standing against him this whole time. Now it seems like Trump actually has, a smidgen of a shot, because Hillary may keel over during the debate tomorrow night. And so it just, to me, it seems like he's, if I didn't think he was like an actual principled guy, I would have said he's just basing all of this on the polls. Because before it was like Trump is in the tank and Trump is going to lose by landslide and Hillary is going to be president. And so he's thinking like that. And now, Trump has a shot, and he doesn't want either to be shut out of the party or to completely have no, political power left once Trump may be president.
Well, I think also has to do with the fact I don't think Cruz wants to be blamed if Trump were to lose narrowly. Because you can see, I'm sure a lot of people within the Beltway at least would have said, "Oh, Cruz, it's your fault for not endorsing Trump because for these conservatives," and so which would have been bogus, but that's probably what would have been said about him. I guess he probably just wanted to avoid that, and I think the polls did kind of drive his decision to endorse Trump a little bit. I mean, Cruz is kind of opportunistic like that. He can't be opportunistic to be a politician. I mean, but it's, but again, it is bad. Like, just to kind of talk about Ben Sasse a little bit. I know there are a lot of conservatives that like him, and I think right now he's probably the face of the Trump movement in terms of politicians. I'm not really a big fan of his. I did want him to win Nebraska primary and that Senate seat, but he's been in Senate. He hasn't been very impressive. They think about one of his main causes as a senator was the Corker bill, which basically eviscerated the Senate free clause of the Constitution, paved the way for Obama to get his Iran deal in. I know like Ted Cruz did vote for that, and I think that was wrong. But Ted Cruz didn't actively come out and give a full-throat endorsement of it, like Ben Sasse did. And even when you look at Ben Sasse's opposition to Trump, all it is just a bunch of like self-serving letters on Facebook, and that's really it. You know, I mean, it's not like, you know, if Ben Sasse really wanted to stop Trump, he could have given a full-throated endorsement of Cruz. I know he did say he voted for Cruz on Twitter, which is good, but that's not. I mean, he could have done so much more to help promote Cruz if he really wanted to beat Trump. And in that sense, I think Sasse kind of has like one foot in the establishment circle and another foot in the conservative movement. So he's kind of like a little bit like Marco Rubio in that regard, where he's kind of like, you know, in between the two of them. And I think, unlike Rubio, though, I don't think Ben Sasse has Rubio's charisma, and I think Ben Sasse also kind of has Ted Cruz's problem, which is that he speaks in a certain kind of code that those of us who move the conservatives can't understand and appreciate. It doesn't go much further than that. I think he probably will run in 2020. How far he'll go, I don't know. But I know for sure Never Trumpers, the really hardcore ones, will probably like him. You know, so we'll see.
All right, so let's move on to the debate tomorrow, and oh boy, it's gonna be interesting, to say the least. And if for all of you who are going to be watching the debate tomorrow, I will be live tweeting, which is always a blast. So come and live tweet with me, and I'm sure the rest of the folks here will either be live tweeting or tweeting about it afterwards. So what does Trump need to do to beat Hillary? And let's start with Ben Shapiro, Thug Life. What do you think Trump needs to do in this debate tomorrow in order to win? And also, as a follow-up question, are there going to be Thug Life videos during the debate?
Well, I don't plan on doing any Trump or Hillary Thug Life, because Trump Thug Life, I think we already have such a thing, and Hillary Thug Life, I don't want people to die of, I don't know, Hillary Thug Life. I can't even imagine such a thing. It's just oxymoron. But anyway, what does Trump have to do in the debate? I mean, I think he just has to prove to people that he's a normal human being. Like most of the people who know him already support him. People who don't know him tend to be the people who don't support him. I mean, talking about generally, not talking about conservatives. I'm talking about America in general. You have the people who listen to all his speeches and who know him well, and they know they support him. Then you have everyone else who just gets what they know about him from the media, and I think the media painted such a disgusting picture of him, that he's this racist, crazy, wild, I don't know what, that he just comes on there with a suit and a tie, and people are like, hey, you wearing a suit and a tie? That's like a normal businessman kind of thing to do, you know? So I think, yeah, he has a very low bar, as Ben says, and if he doesn't totally turn red in the face and start yelling and shouting, he's going to have a good debate.
Yeah, it's kind of his debate to lose at this point, because Hillary's health. Oh my gosh, she could keel over. It could be so exciting. Proud Texan, do you think Hillary Clinton is going to keel over in the debate, or will we just not have the pleasure of watching that on live TV?
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. I agree with Shapiro insofar as that it's probably actually going to be pretty boring. You know, everyone's going to tune in to see, the people that tune in will tune in to see what crazy happens today. As far as A and B of Trump and Hillary and choose one, I don't know that unless something really, really, really ridiculous happens, I don't think it moves anybody. I don't think it really has the power to. If one of them is just completely and totally exposed as either corrupt or crazy or one or the other. I found it interesting that Mark Cuban has been apparently supposedly playing Trump in Hillary's debate preparations, which that is kind of hilarious, because him emulating, you know, I mean, Cuban's a little loose cannon anyway, but him emulating that should be fascinating, and it'll kind of be interesting to see if they've basically sat around and said, we're going to try and bait each other into looking like people think we look like. So, you know, if Hillary tries to bait Trump into looking like a nut, or he tries to bait her into either looking like sick, weak, corrupt, Yeah, I don't know that it's going to be much of anything unless, like I said, unless something like really ridiculous and kind of unpredictable occurs.
Aaron, do you think that we're going to see fireworks tomorrow night, or is it going to be a snooze fest?
I think it'll be a snooze fest. It's like, well, it's actually like what Ben Shapiro was saying last week at that radio town hall. It's basically Trump just needs to prove that he's not crazy, and as he said then. It's like, it's actually very easy to prove that you're not crazy. You just stand there and act normal. A lot of crazy people actually are crazy, actually do that. And so what I think will probably happen is I think Hillary will keep trying to bait Trump, like, you know, she'll probably do what Marco Rubio did and talk about his small, stubby hands, and just things like that to try and get Trump kind of to start getting angry and, you know, look like kind of nutty, you know. But I think we'll be snooze fest because I'm sure that, you know, I'm sure that that people are at Trump's, that Kellyanne Conway is basically training Trump not to get baited like that, and I think given how Trump has been a lot more, I guess, subdued on the campaign trail, I think it'll be kind of the same way on the debate stage. It'll be a lot more. He'll try to come across a lot more subdued and probably a little more vanilla. And I know one of the reasons people support Trump for primary was because, you know, he was supposed to throw the kitchen sink at Hillary. And unfortunately, during this campaign, Trump has kind of thrown the kitchen sink at himself the more than he has to Hillary. So I think in terms of how Trump will attack Hillary, it'll probably be closer to how Romney handled Obama in that third foreign policy debate, where he just kind of like played prevent defense and just didn't really attack. I think Trump will do the same thing because he's just going to try and be subdued and not want to come across as crazy. And of course, for Hillary, it's just a matter of just proving people, you know, that she's alive and she's not going to kill over. And that's, as Ben said last week, that's a lot harder to do than to prove that you're not crazy. Well, actually, it's that, and also she has to prove that she's not a liar. And that's also, I think, actually, that's actually what's a lot harder to do. They're really not crazy, because once that lying label sticks to you, it's kind of hard to get rid of it. And just that's Ted Cruz, you know? His Trump supporters still call Cruz lying Ted.
I think another issue that Hillary is going to have, and I don't think this is talked about nearly enough, is how terrible she is on camera. Did you guys? I'm sure you all saw that video. I know you guys all saw that video of her. Why am I not over 50%? I mean, or whatever she said, or why am I not 50 points ahead? She looked, it was like a parody of Hillary, but it was the real thing. It was that bad. And if we had like an actual conservative on the other side that cared about winning, you know, as desperately as a conservative would, I would expect that person would, you know, hammer her and really make her look bad. Especially, let's say it was Ben Shapiro. Oh, please, wasn't Ben Shapiro on the other side of the stage? He would be making jokes and doing, you know, working the audience, you know, using the fact that it's live and kind of in the way that he does in his college classrooms. He'll throw in like a cultural reference or something like that that'll keep the audience engaged, whereas Hillary just doesn't even know how to connect with the audience, let alone, you know, be clever or witty or funny. Let's start with Proud Texan on this one. Do you think that that's going to be any kind of a factor tomorrow, or is it just going to be a complete dry and boring experience?
It's going to be pretty dry and boring. It's going to, you know, because neither of them really has the ability to engage. I mean, you've got King Taco Bowl and Awful, and so they really have no capability of getting outside of themselves, I don't think. They're probably, my guess is they're going to stick to their greatest hits and try and bait the other one a little bit. And it's really, I mean, Hillary uses some of the, you know, even if you watch like her social media usage and how she tries to connect with people, it's like watching someone someone who's never experienced a world before, like try and engage with it. It's like, oh, what is this Instagram? What is this Snapchat? How does this work? Oh, is this what the young cool people do these days? You know, it's that Steve Buscemi when he's dressed up as the kid and he walks in and he goes, "Hello, fellow students." You know, when that's Hillary.
Yeah.
To an extent, it's also Trump. Trump will play the blue collar, you know, theme and go as far as he can with it. you know, as far as their personal interaction, it'll be interesting to see what happens if, you know, they try and if Trump really tries to like go into the heavy critique of Hillary, where and it's some of the stuff where she can just say, "Oh, gee, Donald, well, then why did you donate all that money to my foundation?" Or, "Oh, gee, Donald, then why do you support this?" You know, that'll be pantsing for sure. It'll, you know, if one of them pantses the other one like that, well, why did you support this then? Or why did you donate to Anthony Weiner? So
Thug Life, what do you think about Hillary's chances of coming off as less than C-3PO on the stage?
Yeah, she's going to be pretty robotic, obviously, and but I think we're all saying that it's going to be very boring, and you know, but there is a chance that it won't be, because it is the 2016, which has been a year of surprises for everyone. So tomorrow night may be a surprise, and maybe a total, I don't know, Hillary might have some good zingers, you know, something that the world might turn over. Who knows what will happen? Trump obviously has had some good zingers in past debates, so I wouldn't be surprised if he had a few good zingers in this one as well. But obviously, people are advising him against it. But you never know if he'll be able to hold himself in or not.
I think my chief concern is that he pulls a Mitt Romney like he did with the whole Benghazi issue, and when he has a chance to really hit her hard, he just completely rolls over. Aaron, do you think he's even going to take that kind of a shot at her, or is he just going to look at it and say, it's Hillary and I don't really want to win anyway?
Well, first, I think C-3PO is more likable than Hillary, but I unfortunately, I kind of think that he's probably not going to take a shot at her like that. I think he might touch some of that stuff, but I think Trump is just going to try and prove that he's not crazy. He's probably just going to try and be more subdued and measured. And even if you look at what he's saying on the campaign trail, he's going after Hillary a little bit, but not super hard. He's mostly just, you know, going to like the inner cities and stuff and saying, you know, Democrats have given you, you know, this terrible life, basically, you know, like, what have you got to lose by voting for me? And I think that kind of thing, there is an effectiveness in that strategy, but the debates definitely want to turn to Hillary hard. But I think that given what we see the campaign trail so far from Trump, he's not really turning into her hard. So I don't really expect him to really go after her hard in the debates. It's the classic sort of it's classic for somebody who's like a very like liberal Republican, leftist Republican, more like just savage conservatives or Jeb in this past primaries case. In the primaries, you know, but you know, comes in an election that just kind of a little more hesitant to attack a Democrat. I really think Trump is no different in that regard. And I think people who support him thinking that he would really couldn't stick at Hillary are going to be very disappointed because I don't think Trump's going to go after that hard tomorrow. I mean, you know, like Thug Life was saying, you know, I mean, it's possible that I'm wrong and he does go after her hard, and then all of a sudden there's fireworks that becomes very entertaining. That could definitely happen. I mean, nobody knows for sure. But that's just, you know, that's just what I'm thinking based on what we've seen in the campaign so far. You know, I hope I'm wrong, but I'm typically not, as you know all too well, Kelly.
Yes, I am well aware that Aaron is 99% correct on everything.
100% correct, Kelly.
99%. Yeah, that I think is one of the biggest problems with this whole celebrity strongman complex that people seem to have with Trump, is they think that he's going to come in swinging with this club and he's going to right all the wrongs and he's going to smack Hillary across the jaw. I don't have 100% proof that he won't do anything. I think there is the potential that Trump will say, "Oh, I'm on TV. I better do something because I'm on TV and I need to make this entertaining." But I don't think that he's going to do anything of substance, if that makes any sense. I think that there may be some fireworks just as in entertainment value, but nothing of substance that's going to be really worthwhile. So we've kind of reached the end, and we do have questions on Twitter this time, and I'm very excited about that.
Someone asked to make muffin.
Yes, somebody. It is my little stalker. Politithoughts, or no, it's at _thinker. So go follow him. He does a great podcast. I'm actually his stalker right now because I'm listening to his podcast. And I hope that he will eventually come on this show once I get the audio problems worked out. But he wants to know what everybody thinks about Evan McMullin. Is he a solution or just a spoiler? So let's start with Prod Texan.
I think he's neither a solution or a spoiler. He's answering a call that exists, which is there someone else that I can support? And he's answering that, but he's really not a solution to anything, and he's really not a spoiler because I don't think he has the ability to affect the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
It's the argument becomes, where were you? There were all these people that were involved. Where were you? Where was your involvement? If you have the ability to put this organization together when the rubber was meeting the road, you were on the sidelines, and it's kind of the washed up athlete or something like that who's kind of like, well, I coulda, I can.
Mm-hmm.
And so he plays in a minor league that has no other real competition in it, and he goes, look how great I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't take his candidacy seriously whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
It's just 2016, so why not?
Yeah. Thug Life, what do you think about Evan McMuffin?
Yeah, I agree with what Proud Texas said. I would just add that, maybe there should be a conservative party starting sometime soon, especially since the Republican Party is moving more and more to the left. If the only way to stop it might be to stop the third party. I mean, obviously, you want to stick with the Republican Party that has all the, everything set up already, but it's just something to think about in the future.
Aaron, do you have anything to say about McMuffin?
The funny thing is that I'm on a group chat, a group DM message on Twitter with Ben McDonald Stocks, who was featured on Fox this past week. So kudos to him, and Anna White, and it's always funny how the three of us always make fun of McMuffin all the time, and I think Anna and Ben both hate him. I don't hate him per se. I just think he's kind of annoying because a lot of his supporters are like a hardcore the Rubiots like to call them, and they're very in the tanker. It's just really annoying. It's like it's like what Thug Life and Texan have touched on, right? It's like, yeah, where was he when there's actually a chance to stop Trump? It was, or when there's a chance really for a third party candidate to make a difference. It just kind of came in too late, and I was just kind of there to kind of raise his own ego. He's not going to go anywhere. I don't think, and I definitely see the temptation of supporting him because I guess his views are more in line with our values than anyone else's. But again, it's too late. There's no real point in really supporting him. And so I think that I don't really agree with Thug Life about starting a new party just because there are already plenty of third parties out there already. But I mean, there's a Constitution Party, which might be more in line with our values than the Republican Party. But the problem is that if I definitely see the temptations in starting a new party, and I think it might actually happen at some point if the Republican Party keeps acting the way it has been. But if that does happen, I think we would basically give the Democrats 25, 50 years of rule basically, and then that point it's basically over. So I think our only hope is to take over the Republican Party. How to do that, I'm not so sure. It's very difficult to do that, given how Reince Priebus has set up the primaries and all that. It's difficult to do. But something we're gonna have to figure out at some point if we're gonna save the country.
Yeah, it's kind of it's almost like a pipe dream to have a third party come in and fix things because it's only happened one other time in history that a third party has beat out anybody else or the two main parties. And then in order for the Republican Party back in the Civil War days, in order for them to do that, basically they destroyed the Whig Party. So there could only be two parties. So one of them had to die. So I don't think that the United States is really built to function with more than two parties at this time anyway. I mean, if we go the way of Europe, which we seem to be liking. Yeah, we seem to be liking the way Europe is doing things, unfortunately. So there is the potential that maybe in the future we could have multiple parties, and then we'll have socialist rule all the time, and it'll be fantastic, just like Denmark and Norway. It works out so wonderfully there, doesn't it? So, do we have any more questions?
Maybe we could get the Conservative Party to take over the Republican Party.
That would be fantastic.
That's the hope.
Again,
Yeah.
again another pipe dream. So, okay. Do we have any more questions?
Aaron Leonard Gal just put out a new art piece. Boy, this guy, I don't know who he is. I literally never spoke to him. One day he contacted me on Facebook, and he started sending me all these arts,
Uh-huh.
and all these fancy
Okay.
things.
Oh, I think I know who you're
And he
talking
keeps
about.
sending me Aaron Leonard
Yeah.
Gal. I just retweeted one of his new one he just made.
Oh, that guy.
Right
Yeah.
now. I mean, it's unbelievable what he does. It's really nice.
Yeah, if this is the guy that I think you're talking about. Yeah, this guy, he's like a pro, man. And
Oh
he's
yeah,
even
that's very well
great-
done.
Yeah, he does fantastic artwork. Well, I wonder what
Maybe
Ben
Ben-
thinks. Maybe he's
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh.
I'm,
He
like,
fans.
before Ben hires me, he should hire this guy for sure. And also the Nikki HDD. Remember that lady who made an intro for the Ben Shapiro show?
Yeah, yeah.
She should definitely hire her. I mean, she seems to be a big fan. She comments on my channel all the time, and she's very professional. So like, I'm not that professional, readily admit. But between Aaron Leonard Gal and Nikki HDD, definitely would make an awesome graphics and video editing team for the Daily Wire, etc.
Ben hires the best people, let me just tell you that.
Yes, he really does. He really does.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the new intro, like Clayton got. Probably that song. What does he always sing? I got you under my skin, but like with the words changed for the Ben Shapiro show or something. Some cartoon.
I'm looking forward to that too. I don't know if Ben, I'm pretty sure Ben has one coming, but I don't know.
Oh boy.
Okay, so since looks like we're all out of questions, although I think at BMAC0507 is watching. Hi, Stocks.
Yes. Yeah.
You're amazing.
He
Anyway,
did get tweeted at by Harambe for Trump.
Oh yeah, what the
This.
heck? Yeah,
So I mean, I guess we know who Harambe's voting for.
oh yeah.
That was just high on my list of yes. He's alive still. He's tweeting.
Harambe's the Messiah, guys.
Yeah, he follows me on Twitter.
Wait, Mitt Romney follows you on Twitter?
Oh, Harambe for Trump.
Oh, Harambe for Trump. Okay.
That's how he found out about. That's how he got.
Yeah.
I don't have as many trolls as Ben does, but I have a few.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Okay, so we're gonna close this down. I just wanted to give some quick shout outs to our guests. Follow at Become a Texan, follow at Bandler's Banter, and follow at Shapiro Thug Life. I like the new Twitter handle, by the way.
Thank you.
And follow, just for some fun follow at Anna Eleanor and at BMAC0507 for some quite hilarious tweets. And if you guys have anybody you want to shout out, I know Shapiro Thug Life actually just shouted out those two fantastic Twitter accounts. But anybody else you want to shout out, go right ahead.
Well, I don't mean to shout out Harambe for Trump. That's something maybe you can find.
Oh my God.
I meant Gal Leonard, and Instagram it's Aaron Leonard Gal. It's very good stuff. And Nikki HDD, yeah, on YouTube. And she also has a Twitter account, actually.
I'd like to do a couple of shout outs. Firstly, to my friend Mark Moiser, give him a follow. That's at Mark Moiser. And to my friend Andrew Phillips, as his Twitter account is at DC Drew Phillips, maybe something like that. Also, little shout outs to a couple of non-Twitter for starters. I'd like to give a shout out. I think earlier today, those who follow baseball, Jose Fernandez, who's an ace pitcher for Miami Marlins, actually passed away today, and it's very sad and shocking news because he was a baseball superstar, and it's really surreal to see that he's gone. So I'd like to give a shout out for the amazing career that he's had. And baseball is gonna really miss you, Jose. It's too bad that your career was cut short. And then also I like to give a shout out to Ozfest because that's where I basically was there all day yesterday. I got to see Black Sabbath the first and last time, and they were awesome. So kudos to them. And the Disturbed, Megadeth were good as well. So shout out to Ozfest and all the great bands that played yesterday.
Proud Texan, do you want to shout out anybody on Twitter?
I would say it's probably worthwhile to follow Stephen Kahn, which is I think it's at Kahn Steven. Definitely worth a follow. Who else? There's a few people that regularly interact. Mary Moon. I can't remember the Twitter handle for that. Anna Wakeling, Anna Woodworth, both yeah, they're both pretty good accounts. In Anna Wakeling's case, it's somewhat non-political, which is always great to have non-political and just kind of general humor and other things. Anna Woodworth is also a Texan, I believe, and involved down here in at least some level of organizing or grassroots. So
there you have it. And I would be remiss if I did not shout out this account. It's at rlynn_d1. That's Rosemary Dewar. I'm sure that you have seen her around, and she is often getting shouted out on either the Klavan Show or the Ben Shapiro Show, because she's one of the people that uses the new comment feature where you can ask questions live during the show. So she's a big fan of the Daily Wire, and she's constantly tweeting that handle. So go give her a
shout out
follow.
to Elliot Hamilton and Josh Hammond.
Oh yeah,
A couple other really cool, very cool young conservatives who are both very good at taking on leftists in various ways. They're both cool people. Give them a follow.
and do give a follow to at Amanda Presto and at Carta Stille, because they're the coolest.
And Josh Yaz too. My buddy Josh
Yaz too. Josh Yaz may be appearing on this show next month.
Awesome!
We are still working that out, so that'll be fun. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on. I really appreciate it, and I'm so excited that we were able to have both Proud Texan and Thug Life join us for the first time. That was very awesome of you guys to come on.
Trump would call it the greatest.
It was the greatest live stream that there ever was, even with the audio problems. Yes. All right.
We have the best audio problems, frankly. We have the best audio problems, that I will tell you.
Oh, that's great.
All right. So we are going to go off the air now.